Hello, my name's Michael Conneely, and this is the video for the Astrology and Healing magazine, September 2018. So there's a big blog post associated with the video. You can see the address down below in the YouTube write-up. And the healing bit is Maggie doing a presentation of blissing out on Kansa Wand Massage. Now I've got the Astrology of September 2018, which is actually fascinating. So the first thing to note is the wonderful news, and that is that Venus enters the Vedic sign of Libra in September 2018. It goes in on the 1st of September and spends an exceptional time of 4 months in Vedic Libra. Venus doesn't usually spend that long in a sign. And so there'll be a beacon energy given out to the world by Venus in Libra, because Venus rules Libra and does ever so well there. And also because Venus meets Jupiter transiting in Vedic Libra. So the two benefics are both in Vedic Libra. And of course this will be ever so good for people with planets in Vedic Libra and planets in Vedic Taurus, which Venus also rules. But everybody will feel this beacon beautiful energy. The two benefics acting in unity in their lives. So let's look at the sort of indications that come from Venus transiting Vedic Libra. Well, they're the two strongest happy energy financial gains planets. And yes, I want to also mention that Neptune is sending a trine to Vedic Libra at this time. It's an exact trine to Jupiter at the start of the month. And Neptune to Jupiter is intuitive and inspirational. Can be beautiful spiritual inspiration. So this adds to the Venus effect. And the Venus effect is the wife in the case of a man. Love, sex and relationships. Beautiful creative energy, art, music, beauty, literature, writing, ornaments, flowers. Money and vehicles are Venus issues. And diplomacy, if you can manage that. And there's nothing wrong with developing a sweet tooth for 4 months, is there? Perhaps there is. Okay, now note that Venus will actually turn retrograde in Vedic sign of Libra from October the 7th to November the 17th. And this will hold all those beautiful Venus indications back for a bit, but with a divine purpose, and that is that we can take stock of them and assess exactly in what way they are right for our individual personal life path, our individual personal destiny. That's the most important gift of retrograde periods. And then after Venus goes direct again on November the 17th, the full beacon of Venus, beauty, love, sexuality, harmony, creativity will shine once more. So Venus does go retrograde every 18 months for a retrograde period of 42 days. And there's a big twist to this tale, which makes it even more exciting, and that is that Uranus is transiting retrograde in Vedic Aries, and so is sending an opposition aspect to Vedic Libra that we've just been talking about, where Venus is just entering and Jupiter is there already. So Uranus at his best is revolution, lightning bolt, inspiration. He sends us inspiration if we can be open to it. Our life undergoes a revolution. It can take courage, it can take big steps. So You know, Uranus was discovered at the time of the French and American revolutions. But though, you know, what I've described so far of Venus in Libra and Uranus opposite in Aries is like a tremendous thing. And I'm so excited because I'm writing a visionary novel at the moment. It's just perfect for it. So what's the next thing we want to do? Oh, yes. At this same time, Mars is square Uranus. Now, Mars square Uranus again is inspirational and it gives us oomph and drive to break through, but it's impatient, so we have to be careful. Remember, Uranus was a sky god. He rejected the children that Gaia, his partner, the earth goddess, gave birth to by him. And so if we become too impatient, driven, artistic, blah, 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 we can become inhuman. We have to watch relationships as well. And of course it can go further than that and be anger. Mars square Uranus can be anger. Okay, point number 2 on my summary, and it's all in the blog, is Saturn turns direct. Now, Saturn turns direct on the 6th of September, but he only moves less than a month in September. At least he's not going retrograde anymore. And so the divine purpose of a Saturn retrograde is for us to notice the things in our life because they go slower and slower and slower. And in the end, over recent days, like wading through concrete. And this makes us perfect them, dot the I's, cross the T's, do the hard work, have patience. But it can also, it gives us a chance to assess them spiritually. Are they right for us? Are we doing them in the way that is spiritually right for us? And this process comes to a gradual halt in September. We need to look back at the lessons in our life from our projects, from Saturn retrograde, and make the right changes, dump some things, alter other things, give privilege to other things, so that we can move forward as Saturn, Lord Shani, Lord of Karma, gathers speed in his very, very slow way from the 6th of September. And the other thing to note is that now that Saturn is direct in the heavens, he's moving closer and closer to Pluto. Saturn and Pluto are both in Vedic Sagittarius, and Saturn catches up with Pluto. The conjunction becomes exact on the 7th of January 2020. And this is something to really look at as it gathers. It may have been gathering already, indeed, even for a year, because Saturn can make like a container for change. And Pluto is explosive life and death transformative change. So could it be that a project will emerge that will combine the proper skilled, wise and spiritual containment of Saturn, holding explosive death and rebirth energy in your life? And I can certainly think of a project I'm doing that I feel fits this bill. So the third point is about the Ketu-Mars conjunction. Now, Ketu and Mars have been in the sign of Vedic Capricorn since May, and there are 3 peaks when the conjunction is exact. And the third and final peak is September, yes, September the 22nd. So, well, what is the energy of Ketu, South Node, conjunct Mars? Well, at its most basic, it's violence. And there could be violence in your life, violence in the world. But Mars and Ketu are inspiration, they really are. And I have been in contact with so many people who've developed inspiration at this time since May. And the whole point is it's in the sign, the Vedic sign of Capricorn, which is about structure and technical achievement. Now, just to say, well, one example is I've been building an extension to our Airbnb at our healing centre here in the west of Ireland. And so I've had to make sure that the walls are exactly at 90 degrees to each other. They're exactly vertical. They're strong enough to support the roof. And then I'm nearly at the point where I can put the roof on, and then there'll be the electrics and the plumbing. So this is like a very accurate example of Mars conjunct Ketu in Capricorn. But human beings are so diverse. So another very exact example is from Maggie. So she started doing Akashic Records readings on the 23rd of July. And the moment she started, her ascendant was actually on the Mars-Ketu conjunction. It wasn't planned, found out afterwards. But it provides such an exact declaration. It shows the power of astrology. And so, in other words, the Mars-Ketu conjunction provides inspiration from the Akashic records, and she goes through the technical procedures to convert that inspiration to utterance and convey it to the client. Well, another example last week was Irish Heritage Week, and there are many ancient monuments from the Neolithic and younger around here. And in fact, these Neolithic people came by boat. And in fact, DNA testing and sampling of the wheat they brought with them proves they came from Turkey. And so we went to a technical building of their sort of boat, the creation of a wicker framework, putting cowhide over it and having a sail and oars. And so they made the long, long journey with their animals, how awful, and with their wheat. So, yes, and indeed I built a boat when I was 9, and I have some of their same DNA, as many people in the west of Ireland do. And so was the building of a boat when I was a little boy something from past life or heredity? So you can see on what many varied levels of consciousness and manifestation astrological energies express themselves for us to discern, understand, work with and grow thereby. Right, just as... Oh yes, and why did they come to the west of Ireland and certain other places? Well, basically, and again, this is Ketu and Mars energies. The rocks around here are quartz rich. To those Neolithic peoples, quartz was more valuable than gold because of the energies it carries. And if you put your hands on them, it can really affect your consciousness. They wanted to bury their beloved dead with rocks of those energies. They wanted to live on rocks of those energies. They were very orientated to the physics and energies of rocks. And of course, it was quite right that I should encounter all this during the Ketu-Mars conjunction. Yet another manifestation, yet another level of manifestation. Okay, point 4, Neptune is actually opposite the Sun at the moment. And just a word about that, that means that babies born during this period will have Sun opposite Neptune in their birth chart. That is difficult, it needs to be understood. I've found it, well, it can often mean that the father had an alcohol issue which skewed the child. It could also mean that the father was very difficult to actually pin down, and so the child will grow up into someone who is maybe evasive or difficult to perceive clearly, and so people might think they're being dishonest or evasive. It's something to really understand in a life. So my next point, point 5, is that in the heavens, Chiron is square Saturn. Now, Chiron is our existential wound. Saturn holds us implacably to karma. And the energy of a square, a 90-degree aspect, is itself implacable. And so do look at, find out what your existential wound is. You can have a reading with me, which will include definition of your existential wound. And then look at the events that have been outturning and changes in your behaviour, where you're being offered the opportunity to deal better with your existential wound. And remember, the essence of Chiron is the wounded healer. In the healing of our wounds, we can become the healer of others. That's what makes human consciousness so wonderful. We can co-create with the gods, move from being, say, a passive victim of an inherited wound to, a human being who has transformed and is able to heal others. Now, just briefly, point 6, Mercury transits Vedic Virgo from September the 18th to October the 6th. And the point is, Mercury rules Virgo, and Virgo is about health, healing and right living. So during that period, watch out for sort of signs and messages about that area of your life, health and healing and right living and organisation. And, issues about tools or cars might arise to be handled correctly. Okay, point 7, Kalsarpa Yoga. So Kalsarpa Yoga is in force all this month. Kalsarpa Yoga is a divisive energy where all the Vedic planets are to one side of the nodal axis, to one side of the opposition between Rahu and Ketu, North Node and South Node. Even if a planet is just a bit over the line, as long as it's in the same sign as the node, Kalsarpa Yoga still applies. And as I said, it's a divisive energy. So on the one hand, those people can become preposterous and confrontative and destructive, and on the other hand, they can shrink from such potential and not assert themselves enough. Now, this is not to say that such people can't make wonderful spiritual healing from that destiny. Of course they can. But it is the fact that a divisive energy is in the heavens and a violent energy is in the heavens with the Mars Ketu. Anger, violence are enhanced possibilities all this month, despite the sort of beauty, creativity and sexuality from Venus. The 8th point I'd mention is the dangerous days. In previous issues of our Astrology and Healing magazine, we've noted that the moon goes through 3 dangerous or difficult signs in a row, which affect our minds. So when the moon enters Vedic Scorpio, well, the moon always finds itself in trouble in Vedic Scorpio. It's debilitated there. But the next sign it moves on to is Vedic Sagittarius, and of course Vedic Sagittarius has retrograde Saturn in it. And the 3rd sign it moves on to is then the next sign after Sagittarius, which is Capricorn, which has the Mars-Ketu conjunction in it. So it is so good to even note in your diary that the moon will be going through the 3 dangerous signs from September the 14th to the 21st. There's been a number of these clusters of dangerous days over the past few months, and the final month for the dangerous days is October, when the dangerous dates are the 11th to the 18th of October. So I'm concluding this video presentation by saying that the new moon is on the 9th of September at 23 Leo, and the full moon is on the 25th of September at 7 Pisces. Do have a look at the blog. There's a lot more information about the planet movements, and get in touch with me. one of my readings genuinely is really thorough, really learned, and can make a decisive change in your perception and understanding of your life and the handling of the issues seen there. And you can enroll on one of my astrology courses. So the readings website is starwheelastrology.com, and my courses websites include mastervedicastrology.com. So have a good September and a happy one from the Venus-Jupiter in Libra, and I hope to hear from you. Thank you.